Thank you so much for talking to me. I love Spirit Quest, and I have so many questions, but it's funny, and it's really charming, but it's also very sincere and very heartwarming and very touching, and I love all these
Yeah.
things about it. So I was wondering if you could kind of talk about where the idea came from.
Oh, thank you so much for saying that, and we're
Yeah.
so happy that you enjoyed it. I think the idea really just came from Tip and I. We are actors first here in Los Angeles. We came out here a decade ago or so, and we met in UCB, an improv class, and so we studied together, and like obviously we have a real connection to comedy, and so we kind of went our separate ways, and then teamed back up. And I think the idea was like, what's something that we can do together to kind of showcase ourselves as actors and to go out and create a vehicle for ourselves to star in. And so I think that was really the idea. Spirit Quest started as a short, and I think really both of us as creatives and writers was really intentional of like, where can we have the best playground to set these guys where we know we can get a lot of production value, we can steal a lot of just great shots out there in nature, and really kind of give this scope to the movie. And the desert just felt like that perfect location. And then using the drug trip and the mushrooms kind of as the backdrop just allowed us to go in a lot of different directions and get super creative and lean into kind of our sketch comedy background and then lean into hopefully also the relationship, the two friends in the movie, that letting that chemistry be the real anchor to the whole thing.
Well, I love it too because it explores the friendship, and it is a really sweet film, and it is really it is very sincere, and I really love that. But in the core of it too, it's trying to find who yourself is.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it so eloquently at the moment, sorry, but
Oh, you nailed it.
that's,
Nailed it.
that's
find
exactly
your
what
place in the world, and I think it's something that a lot of people, especially now, are dealing with. So I think it is probably pretty cathartic for people to watch, and relatable, because I think a lot of people kind of feel disjointed, and maybe some of their longest like friendships or relationships right now also feel a little bit disjointed.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big part of it. And I think too, like we finished this right before the quarantine. And so we were going into the edit and being like, oh my gosh, like all this is happening in real time where we're being forced to look at all of these things, which is what kind of the whole Spirit Quest is about, is facing fears and anxieties and past relationships. And so for us, just like with friendships, especially long ones, they are disjointed, and there are all these different parts of it. And so I think Spirit Quest was an opportunity to just kind of show the different phases that old friendships kind of have along the way, and how both of them take turns being there for each other.
Yeah.
I love that. Also, I do love that it was in the desert. I think we were lucky because we're near like Joshua Tree in Los Angeles, and we think Tally takes here for granted, but it's such a great setting, and I think it fits so perfectly to your film. How was it shooting there? I mean, how long was the shoot, first of all, and how was there any like difficulties shooting in the desert?
Yeah, for sure.
The shoot was, there was a little window early at the very beginning when we shot the original short, and then we realized that we were having a lot of fun, so we took some time to write the script, and then we went back out, and the desert it was a real lean crew, and so you got to bring everything out. We didn't have like much of a tent or anything like that.
We definitely didn't have trailers or anything like that.
Yeah.
So you're seeing a couple of actors changing costumes in the middle of the desert, and we're just doing everything that we had to do to make it happen.
Yeah. But the good thing was that the drug trip backdrop let us kind of take these adventures in other locations as well, and so I think you get to enjoy that. In the movie, you're in the desert and you feel really grounded in that, because we were definitely out there, and that was a really beautiful thing. And then also you get to see us bounce around to these other little funny spots and stuff. So yeah, I
loved it, and I like that you just said. I thought it was very smart and it worked very well. That like behind the drug trips really lend itself to you being able to do kind of different characters and different genres of comedy. And I thought that was so fun. I really enjoyed that a lot about the film. Was there certain characters or costumes that you particularly enjoyed in this process?
Yeah, I mean, we both love being those 70s guys. I think that could have been a whole movie for both of us.
Right.
We just could have lived in those costumes for that whole time. I loved the monks too, because that felt like a little bit an opportunity to both of them to do something so silly, but to take it so seriously. Let us, kind of a little ode to Monty Python and Mel Brooks in there, just comedy greats that have inspired us, but also just a way of doing comedy that I really love, which is like, yeah, we're dead serious in this right now,
Love
and
it.
we'll laugh at ourselves later. You know what I mean? So
I love that it opened with you guys as a vampire and astronaut. I really enjoyed that. And I just knew I was going to enjoy it from the beginning. And the song, I wanted to ask about the music, because you guys, you did most of the music, and then you had a few other people help, but it worked. I really enjoyed the music and the sound design in this film a lot. I love that. So did you come from like a musical background as well, or how did you know, like, how did this happen?
yeah. I'm also a musician, and so I play and record stuff, and Brent's real from it. I mean, he does some music of his own, and he had a wonderful playlist just from the get-go to kind of give a sense of what this music was. And so then as we went into post, well, for the song at the beginning, that was just his generosity in letting me take the space. I had this idea. I brought it to him. I said, "Hey, could this work for that?" And he was just like, "Go for it," which I really was so wonderful. And then when it came to other pieces of the soundtrack, we are a small film. We're really proud of what we put on the screen. But the way that you do that, I think, is a lot of like, well, what else can we offer to this? And so I just came to him. I said, I don't know if I can do a whole movie, but I could offer this, this, and this. And then Brent found Andrew Miller, who was wonderful and filled it in. And then we also had that song from Gregory Alan Isakov. That again, that was one of those original songs that Brent had all along that we just loved. And it was like, we got to make this ask. And he and his team were awesome about giving us the go ahead to use it. So that's a little bit of how that all came together. But that was really, for me personally, it was a really fulfilling piece of this process.
Yeah, and as a director too, just to have the people around you on your team that are that talented and that can do that. I mean, I was just like, please, more, whatever you can do. I mean, it was a really awesome kind of just melding of experiences.
I loved it. I think it worked so well. It's kind of like dreamy and a little otherworldly and theremin-y, as that's not a word, but
we'll take it. I love that word.
No, yeah, absolutely.
I thought it worked so well, and I really enjoyed it. I was really impressed that you guys really did the majority of the music for the film. You mentioned briefly kind of when you were doing the different characters and your inspirations, but I was wondering what specifically some of your inspirations are in filmmaking.
Yeah, no, I mean, thank you for asking. I mean, yeah, he mentioned, Mel Brooks and Monty Python. Of course, those are huge. And then I would say really kind of the Judd Apatow, kind of the way he is able to put heart and that warmth into his characters and his films was a huge inspiration. And then also too, I mean, the comedy of taking the absurdity so seriously comes straight from, Larry Sanders and that Hank Kingsley character playing that so straight. And then I think the other real big influence, at least for me as a filmmaker, and this film specifically, was the Duplass brothers and kind of their comedy and kind of them having some fantasy elements into their films and some trippy elements into their films. And I mean, they're just such huge advocates for going out and getting it done yourself, and have really done a great job of laying out what the filmmaking process is and encouraging filmmakers to go out and do it. So for them, their films was a huge contributor to what I think we were trying to do.
Well, I think your film definitely carries the spirit of a lot of their films. I really do.
Oh, thank you.
Kind of like the same vibing with it. The elements people love about the Duplass, I think they'll definitely love about your film as well, because it has that.
I appreciate that. I mean, they're just such a, I read their book, of course, before we did this, and they just had this one chapter, was the no Calvary, and that just meaning that the Calvary is not coming. People aren't going to come and make your career happen. They're not going to come and make your story happen or make your acting dreams or your writing dreams, your music dreams. You are your Calvary, and you've got to go out and make it happen for yourselves. And that was something that we knew that we wanted to try and give us that opportunity.
I love that message, because I think, especially Los Angeles. So people talk, and they're talking, and they're going to make this, they're going to make this, but the people that actually do it is a very small number, because you could talk for days and talk about making, writing a script for years, but you just have to do it. And the first step of doing it is doing it. So I love that kind of attitude. And I think that's really, you can't wait, you can't.
Yeah, you have to be very gentle. It's interesting. You have to be very gentle in the talking about it and in who you choose to talk about it to, because talking about it is the first step of actualizing it. But it's good to start to observe in yourself, who do I talk to, like who in talking to do I actually continue down the road of doing it. And that's what it was for us. I mean, we had to start by talking about it, but there was also a sense of an openness of like, we're going to do this. And we all have, I mean, we can all tell our horror stories, I'm sure, of the people that we talk to, and they just shut, you get shut down, you get whatever, just so unnecessary. So definitely, like, if there's any aspiring filmmakers out there, anybody who's like right where we were just when we were making this, it's like, it's not talking about it, but it's like being very gentle with yourself when in choosing how and when you talk about it. Like it's a kind of a nice little in-between step, I think, that I just definitely would share,
What do you hope that audiences take away after they see your film?
I think one of the big things that we both resonated with was, and more you see my character going through it, but it was something that we both obviously contributed a lot to in the writing, was what it is to be in your head, what it is to be stuck inside yourself, and dealing with anxiety. Brent always calls them the anxiety loops, which I that when he said that, I was like, oh my God, once if you can name it, you can tame it, kind of thing. So I was real grateful for that. So there's, this is what friendship is about. It's like friendship is about putting what's inside out into the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, the drugs were a way for us to explore that in the film. We're not saying that's the only way. We're just saying that, that you can, get out of your head, you can express yourself. And that's a big thing for me. Yeah. And that expression leads you to whatever your version of spirituality is. It can lead you to that enlightenment, which for us has a lot to do with a sense of humor and a lot to do with laughing. But it's different for everybody.
Yeah. And I just, we've had, all of us collectively have had such a tough, year and a half, 2 years, 4 years. We keep going, but it's just, it's so. I just hope people can watch and just kind of have a lighthearted kind of, and just laugh and hopefully, like you said, to just feel that warmth of our friendship and realize that we have that opportunity with so many more people if we're just willing to kind of, let those judgments down and really get to know. We're so divided. I mean, we get into it, but we're so divided. And I think the big thing of Spirit Quest is that we're such opposite in characters, but you get to see that we're really so alike. And even going to the end of the movie is like we're all really, really similar, and it's just about highlighting those or finding those things you can highlight in each other.
I love that, because it's true. I think people are just rabid and so ready to like yell at each other right now. It's just like, be cool, just be cool. Like when you meet somebody, you start talking about it, it's like there's not that many differences really. We all like to think we're all very, very, very unique, but we're all pretty much very similar when it comes down to it.
Oh yeah.
I think it's just like a really perfect story for the time. Now that you've done, well, first of all, wait, so now it just came out, I think,
this week, last Tuesday.
Yeah. So you could find it on, like, where's the easiest places to find it?
Amazon, Apple, Vudu.
Yep, Vudu, YouTube, Vimeo, Google Play, I think Microsoft, and then it's on DVD and Blu-ray as well.
Awesome.
So it's kind of cable on demand, like Spectrum, that kind of,
I think Dish Network, Verizon, Fios. Yeah. So kind of in all major platforms where you can buy and rent movies, it's out there, and we would be super appreciative. And of course, we'd love to share our little film with you. So thank you so much for having us.
Yeah. Oh my God, thank you. And I'm just curious, now that you have this one under your belt, are you going to continue working together? I'd love to see other things.
Yeah, no, we really hope so. I mean, that was one of the great things. Not only did we find a really great friendship in making the movie, and we became kind of those guys that we played in the movie. But now too, just kind of seeing what we were able to do together and the creative chemistry we had. And I think we had so much fun coming up with those different duos. And so I think maybe there's some other duos that didn't make it in the movie that could, have their own feature or kind of explore some other types. So we'll see where it goes.
I also want to say, I really felt humorous when you were trying to clean the sand off. I like the dirty sand. But
amazing. Thank you. Yeah.
But thank you both so much. I really enjoyed the movie, and I think people will. And congratulations.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. Yeah. Just such a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, you too.
You too. And thank you, David.
Yes, thank you, David.
He's out there somewhere.
He's in the ether. We feel him.
We feel him. But thank you guys so much.
No problem. Take care.
Have a good one.
Bye.